Hi everyone! Welcome back to Nikapedia with Mia Nika. You must have heard many a times about this war commonly known as World War I, or maybe as the Great War, or simply as the First World War. I'm certain you may have many questions regarding this interesting historical topic. What caused such a big war in the first place? Some believe it was the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, while others, Serbian nationalism. There were many events that occurred during the time of World War I. The spark of World War I occurred on June 1914, when the assassination of the heir of Austria Hungary, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, was done by a Serbian. Because of this, Austria Hungary was angered and declared war on Serbia on July 1914. Germany rushed to Austria Hungary's aid, and as a complicated network of alliances came in the picture, war had spread all over Europe. Wait a second. What are alliances? Alliances are agreements made between countries to protect one another. For example, Serbia needed help in the war, so Russia went to help Serbia. Then Austria-Hungary needed help, so Germany helped them. Despite President Woodrow Wilson of America was against the idea of entering war and wanted the U.S. to stay neutral, meaning he wanted the U.S. to not take sides in the conflict. Germany was making itself a navy with submarines, also known as Uboats. After several months, Germany started sinking U.S. merchant ships that were delivering ammunition to Great Britain and France. Not only did the Germans sink U.S. merchant ships, a German U-boat sank a big American and British passenger ship called the Lusitania. They sunk the ship on May 1915, and this had a big impact on Americans' opinion. A total people of 1,198 people died, including 128 Americans. Americans were really angry about this. As a result, the government told Germany to stop sinking merchant ships. Consequently, on May 4, 1916, Germany made a pledge to not sink American ships, known as the Sussex Pledge. However, on February 1917, Germany continued its submarine warfare against the United States and even started attacking American ships in the North Atlantic. On January 1917, America received the Zimmerman telegram from Germany. In addition, this telegram was from Germany and was supposed to go to Mexico. The telegram said that Germany would still use submarine warfare against the U.S. and bribed Mexico to join Germany's side. And in return, Germany would help Mexico regain the states of Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona. As we discussed previously, Germany wreaked havoc on the United States. The U.S. realized that there was only one way to stop Germany. The U.S. would have to end its isolationism and join war at last. Finally, the U.S. joined the conflict of World War I on April 1917 on the side of the Allies. After another year of war and destruction, Germany had surrendered, and the Allies had won. The dreadful war had finally ended on November 11, 1918. The Allies immediately blamed Germany for the destruction and cause of war. However, on June 1919, was when the Treaty of Versailles was signed. According to the treaty, Germany was made to accept full responsibility for causing war, give up many of its territories, and pay the countries damaged by war. President Woodrow Wilson created his 14 points. This was an organization known as the League of Nations. It was an organization that would solve problems peacefully and non-violently, trying to prevent another world war. Now that we know more about the events of World War I, let's learn about the Allied and Central Powers. There are many differences and similarities between these two powers. The first major difference was that the Allied powers were made up of the British Empire, France, Russia, and Serbia. And in 1917, the United States and Belgium also joined as a support of the Allies. Unlike the Allies, the Central Powers consisted of the German Empire, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, Bulgaria, and the Ottoman Empire, Turkey. Another major difference was that the Allied powers were supporting Serbia's side of war. On the other hand, the Central Powers were supporting Austria Hungary's side. As shown before, there were fewer original countries on the side of the Central Powers than that of the Allies. The population of the Allied powers was 265.5 million, in contrast to the Central Powers, whose population was 115.5 million. In addition, the Allied powers had 39 modern battleships, while the Central Powers only had 20. There were also quite a few similarities between the two powers. For instance, both Allied and Central Powers were a chain of alliances that formed two teams. In addition, both powers competed using their power of militarism, alliances, imperialism, and nationalism, or the main system. Militarism was a major factor of World War I. It was where countries in Europe competed to build the strongest and largest military. Alliances were another major factor of the war. It was where countries in Europe made agreements to defend one another should the other be harmed. Imperialism was where the countries of Europe went to smaller and weaker countries, like Africa, to set up their colonies. Lastly, nationalism is where citizens of one's country are willing to go to war to defend their nation's honor. In comparison to the Allied and Central Powers, used many new and advanced ways of warfare. In fact, Germany got the idea to use chemical warfare that later both powers would use against each other. World War I was one of the most deadly conflicts witnessed throughout history, and it's important we prevent another war. World War I was an important part of history, of which we can learn from and makes us realize the mistake we made to put many's lives at risk and prevent such mistakes in the future. World War I will continue to inspire and teach us about life for generations to come. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you all next time.